に使命をかけて燃える街にあとわずか届く叫びを耳にして帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマン十字を組んで狙った敵は必殺技の贈り物大地を飛んで流星パンチ近くに立ってウルトラチョップ凶悪怪獣倒すため帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマン
Hello, you are listening to episode 47 of Ultra Q. I'm joined by Mel.
I was surprised you didn't name yourself.
Oh, I'm Red. Hello. Hello. I think in my head I had assumed I'd already said my name, which means in true tyrannical fashion, I think I'm Ultra Q.
Well, you do the editing.
I don't. This is a strange coup that I performed. My name is Red. I'm joined by Mel.
Hello.
No Brad this week.
No Blaze this week either.
No Blazer this week either. Brad is busy playing fighting games.
Yeah, Gento is also at Frosty Faustings, neglecting his child.
Yeah. He didn't take his wife said, "Why don't you take? It'll be fun. It'll be like a father-son bonding activity." And then he left in the middle of the night. He said, "Yeah, it'll be great," and then just no, I'm gone. I'll take the bracelet.
Yeah, he puts the bracelet on his hitbox.
Yes.
Go watch our Blazer coverage or listen to it.
Yeah. Also watch Blazer. You know, because of how it ended, we kind of dunk on Blazer a lot, but it's it's a good show. I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Coming up on the return of Ultraman this week, we have got we've got a new captain. We've got the strange like astronomy based kaiju, and we have just the most hilarious, horrific shit that the Monster Attack team have ever done to a kaiju. Episode 24 is so bizarre.
It's funny. Episode 23, meanwhile, is what would you do in this situation?
What would you do in this situation? I wouldn't do what the Monster Attack team does. I would do what Ultraman eventually decides to do. Before we get to any of that, quick catch up, quick check in. We both have for the last 50 weeks, watched presumably 52. Presumably they took 2 weeks of breaks somewhere in there. They scheduled it out. For the last year, we watched Hirogaru Sky Precure.
The
which
Hero
was
Girls.
the Hero Girls, which is the pun on Soaring something. Is like the pun.
It's like Soaring Sky, but they're Hero Girls.
Yeah, except for one of them. It's every time they talk about how they're Hero Girls, I'm like, oh, well, not that one.
It's very funny. They're the Hero Girls in the first season to have a male in the cast.
Yeah, it's really good. But
he's allowed to be one of the girls.
He's allowed to be one of the girls. It's capital G gender. We want to talk about it. We'll probably talk about it at the end of the episode though, because we watched a year of it, and we want to get into it. We want to talk about the best bit of the show, which is near the end. So we'll get into that. I don't know what else I did this week. I suppose I picked up Tekken 8, which I was planning on picking up both Tekken 8 and Uni, but then I saw the price tag on Tekken 8. And I was like,
yeah, I also saw the price tag on Tekken 8.
Oh no, I can't buy both of those.
I haven't bought Uni yet either because of money, but also,
Yeah.
Uni at least is like, hey, we give you the thing for free. I'm like, well, I guess I'll get it in a month or so.
What? Video games cost so much money now.
I was like 90 Canadian dollars for Tekken.
Nine? Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's like... Yeah, Canadian dollars are fucked.
Damn. That sucks. But yeah, I picked up Tekken because there's a friend of mine who has never played a fighting game other than Tekken, but he's a massive Tekken fan. And, I'm not a big fighting game person, but I played a few. And I boot up Tekken with him, and I'm trying to explain to him the ways that Tekken is not fucking normal. And it was like, well, it's all I'm playing like Reina, and it's all like directional inputs instead of there's no motions to do. And he's like, what do you mean by motion inputs? And I was like, are you joking? So yeah, real cultural exchange happening. But that's kind of, I'm gaming, I'm playing video games. I with great shame, I have to admit, I'm back on Final Fantasy 14. But that I'm not going to talk about that. That's going to stay in that. That's going to be my secret. I turn up to confession every week, and tell the priest I logged in again. But yeah.
Does the Anglican Church still have confession, or is that just a Catholic thing?
It's just a Catholic thing. Oh. Although I'm not much of an expert, but I don't. I think as much as it's funny to be like, well, Britain is basically just Catholic, but didn't really want all that. It's not real Protestant. At the same time, it's not real Catholicism either.
Secret third thing.
It's a secret. It's a third way. It's Lacus and Kira Yamato started the church, the C of E. Nah.
Look forward to our Seed Freedom Spoilercast around that.
Oh, you bet. You fucking bet. I read a thread about all the a bunch of spoilers of Seed Freedom, and I'm like, I have to see this movie.
Okay, we'll consider it then.
Well, I don't necessarily. There's a couple of spoilers in there. I'm like, I don't necessarily recommend this movie, but no, I will watch that trash. So yeah, I haven't been doing nothing much. What's up with you?
I got a couple things.
Shoot.
First of all, I won't get into the thing itself. Just get started. But I must confess my brainworm sins to the world. Because last week, in the middle of recording a podcast, Brad and I decided to make my Tales of the Abyss playthrough a co-op game. I did just start another Tales game on my own. On the side.
I did notice this, and I was like, oh, you like in it. You're in that headspace.
Yes, I was just like, I need to play this, but I can't, so I'm going to do something else to fill the void.
Mm-hmm. Which one did you pick?
So I picked something different. I tried a very thorough elimination of the different options.
I see.
Until I landed on Tales of Destiny Director's Cut, which is a remake of the original Tales of Destiny on the PlayStation 2.
Nice.
The original Tales of Destiny was PS1, but the remake's on PS2. This one is
on the. Oh, you posted a thing further up. I'm gonna scroll up until I find this like timeline of.
Yeah. The timeline that I made, but it's vetted.
Yeah. So where's Destiny on here? Oh! It's like, okay, I see. It's like immediately. It's the second one.
Yeah, Destiny's like the one right after Fantasia, but the remake of it is like between what the fuck did I put Minecraft?
2006, I see.
Yeah, so it's between Abyss and Vesperia. And it's a 2D game, unlike Abyss.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna do something like, I want to play something different than what I'd be doing with Abyss.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to go like too far ahead in the release timeline.
Mm-hmm.
And I was kind of like not sure about going back too much, so I settled on like go for one of the 2D ones that's contemporaneous. And that is the one that's a fan translation, because the the ones right before it do not.
Rip.
Yeah, I really want to play Tales of Rebirth at some point, but that's still can translate still. So yeah, playing that one. It'll be an interesting contrast. It is funny how much this just feels like you can tell this is an entirely separate team doing a different thing in parallel. Because I was playing this, is like, this is weird. What is this?
Yeah. Like similar trappings, but completely unfamiliar. Is that what? Yeah.
Well,
okay.
Yeah, because this is obviously like he's got like the similar combat system. He says the name. It's like, oh yeah, it is of the same series, but like everything else around it feels so alien, up to including how like the UI looks. Because like in a bit, it's like, wow, the UI, the Abyss UI was like really well. It's kind of like artistic in a way. It's like the menus are like, oh, this is like.
Oh, is Destiny like utilitarian UI?
Yeah, because like in Abyss, the UI is designed like, oh, this is the protagonist's journal and has like the aesthetic trappings of that.
Oh, I see.
And then Destiny Director's Cut UI is like, graphic design is my passion. I'll show you a screenshot later because I don't have it on hand.
Okay. Fantastic.
It might be a thing where it comes up again. Like, I have to, whatever. I get home. Maybe I can find it.
If you can, I'll cut out us you searching for it.
Yeah, sure. There's only two of us today, so every episode's going to be.
If you can't, it all stays in. The implication.
Yeah. Okay. So found this is like the Destiny UI, and let me see if I can find the Abyss UI.
Oh, okay. This is extremely. I am truly playing, like, dark cloud.
And then here's like the Abyss one comparison.
Oh, that's hilarious! That's a hilarious comparison. Oh my god!
Like, Abyss, he's got like little photos of the tape on it. It's like, oh yeah, it's like his journal, and then
this
Disney's like, well, damn, what's going on over here?
These fucking RPG maker portraits.
Yeah. I
have one small note for Tales of Destiny that I assume you have also already noticed. Is it's illegal to call that character Kongman.
Yeah, he's not called that in the dub.
Okay.
I mean, like the fan translation, I think, went close to like the original Japanese compared to like the PS1 official English translation.
Oh, is this the official language translation, or is this is I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I apparently the guy named Woodrow in English is called Gar, and I'm like, that's an interesting localization.
Why would you what?
I mean, that was a game translated in the 90s, but also it is
That's just the most made up shit ever for no reason. It's Woodrow.
Yeah.
People know the name Woodrow.
There's a
Woodrow
president named Woodrow.
Wilson. He's a.
I don't.
I'm gonna have to make a note for myself that the timing was not off there. We just happened to reference the same Woodrow at the same time.
Well, to be honest, that's the only one I think I really know. So
Yeah, I don't know of any other Woodrows, but like, you know, the president, he's like a big Woodrow.
yeah, League of Nations and all that.
That's what they're calling
Very
me.
racist.
They're calling me Big Woodrow.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't have much to say about the game because I just started it. It's just more like I want to confess my crimes on the air.
Yeah. Well, you are forgiven.
Yeah.
Iron Mask voice.
Besides that, I am done with Kamen Rider Hibiki.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. Now, the reputation that you reported to us that Kamen Rider Hibiki has is that it starts good and then becomes something else.
Yeah, and that's where I'm coming in to say, no, my choice of words where I say I am done with Hibiki.
Oh,
and not
okay.
that I finished Hibiki.
Oh, okay.
Because what happened was I went with the intention of like, okay, I'm going to see it all the way through and I'm going to see what happens in the post-retool. Because what happened is like the show early on is very unwriter-like. It's very down-to-earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Oni are like, they're like a secret organization, yeah, but it's like more like the trappings of like colleagues working together to like do like their jobs around the community, except the job around the community is like killing demons that eat people.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, a bit of a disconnect between like what the monsters do and like the tone of the rest of the show, but like,
mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's very chill vibes, just like, and like it's got this dynamic where the protagonist point of view character is like a child who like looks up to Hibiki, the titular rider, and he's just like. Also, as an aside, they like play up how Hibiki's like an older rider character and like an older like protagonist for rider.
Right.
He's like 31, and I'm like, I turn 30 next year. No.
Anime age.
He's just like. But yeah.
Rumbarel.
But yeah, it's just like good, like vibes. It's just like a really standout moment when like. Well, yeah, here's a screenshot I had from like the last episode I watched where he's just like, "Oh yeah," just to give you kind of the vibes of the kind of show. Mm-hmm. And yeah, basically it's just. Yeah, down to earth, really grounded. It's like by the same director, or I think producer as Kuga. So like,
okay,
it's coming from a different place. It's coming from the same place though, like doing different things. Like it's not Kuga 2 by any means. It's more like the creative vision behind Kuga is trying to do something different.
Yeah, which is, you know, what you want in life.
Yeah. But apparently the show was not doing well with kids. Did pretty good with dads, but...
I wonder why.
Yeah. Yeah, here's another good screenshot. Yeah, they're just chilling after beating the monster.
They chilling.
Yeah, it's good.
They're gonna go get drinks after.
Yeah, but apparently the show was a big flop, and then the execs were like, scorched earth on the entire cast and crew.
No.
And they brought in like Inoue and some other guys to like do a more conventional writer show with like the scraps.
Bare bones.
Yeah, and like at first I thought that was like, oh, it's just gonna be a messy like retool that doesn't capture the energy by trying to do something conventional, but it's not gonna be like, it'll just be bad writer or sloppy writer. But then like I dragged out watching the show because I was like, I don't want to get to the bad part. And eventually reached the point where a bunch of my friends watched the show and passed me and watched it all and was like, oh no.
Oh.
Where it sounds like the execs were not only trying to force the show to be like a sloppy version of like a writer show to just, it's not like just like a mismatch of a square peg a round hole. It seems almost like the impression I got from my friends watching, and from what they said after, is that like it was almost like spiteful to the original direction of the show.
Man, that's not what you want.
Yeah, and it sounds like they want to like get rid of a lot of people, and like in a way, it did what I guess they could in a bad situation, especially by like, you know, hearing out sort of like the depressed, drunken like tears of the writer and director of the previous one, and then like stop the executives from firing the entire cast, including the point of view character or something.
Oh boy.
Absolutely ridiculous, and it just made it sound like it is more dire than I could have anticipated, and I was just like, okay, whatever, I'm just gonna not watch past the good parts because I don't want to be that depressed right now. Like, maybe one day I can revisit it, but like
this is gonna be me with Macross Dynamite. I'm just not gonna touch it. I'm just not gonna let curiosity win. Yeah,
and like I think, thankfully enough, like it's not like they solved the mystery of like the villains, but also it's not like they planted much seeds there anyway. Like they hint a bit. They're clearly hinting like around like in the late 20s that like there's an origin to these guys, but they don't really get into it much, and it feels almost like one where it's like doesn't matter. So around episode 29 is where like 29 is the last episode of like the old part, and then 30 is when the switch off happens. Which apparently immediately introduces an asshole kid to like bully the main protagonist. And the tone changes. And it's just like, you know, I left off episode 29. I was like, you know what? That's a decent stopping point, the way they wrap things up. It felt like maybe they knew that, like, oh yeah, we're just going to wrap up this mini arc here. If I guess you can call it an arc. But yeah, it's just like, yeah. I feel like if this was a whole show, it could have been a 10 out of 10. And so I feel like, yeah, this is like one of the strongest, most unique writer experiences I had. And it's just like a shame it didn't get to be a whole series.
And you're just gonna out while you still got it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Fitting. I heard that like the movie, because all these shows have movies. Apparently, like Inoue and like the crew who made like the second half of the show, the bad half, made the movie, and the movie is apparently faithful to the tone and style of the first half of the show.
Oh, I see.
And it just makes you go, they could have done it, but clearly they were prevented it from doing so.
Yeah.
Which is where the spite of the execs seems to come in, and it just seems like, that's just bad taste. So I'll watch the movie. I didn't watch it. I was going to plan to, but I'll watch it for next week, and I'll just give a quick check in there. Okay. But yeah, Hibiki slotting in probably with shows that would be 10 out of 10s if they didn't have
one fatal flaw.
If they didn't have an entire last third that sucked. Fitting in there with Super Dimensional Force Macross and Karikano. The Holy Trinity.
The Holy Trinity.
It's just like, just watch the first 2/3 and then forget about the last.
Someone should watch just the last thirds of all three. It won't be me. I've already seen Macross.
Yeah. I would not watch just the last third of Karikano. Though there is some funny Gainax we have zero budget moments.
Nice.
Like animating sequences with paper dolls.
Oh, sick. Yeah, that's what you want to see.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. Definitely. But yeah, other than that, I also watched, because it finally got subbed, the most recent Precure movie, Precure's All-Star F.
I saw you watch that. That's one of the crossover ones, right?
Yeah. I think this is the only movie we had for Hirogaru Sky. And it happened to be a crossover. And it was pretty good. I really liked it.
Good.
I haven't seen a lot of the... Like, there's a stretch of Precure where I've seen the movies and a stretch where I have not seen the movies, and most of it has been the recent shows where I have not seen the movies. Like Go Princess Onwards. Because, usually what happens is, like, it's easier to watch the movies when you go back to a show than, like...
Than when it's current.
Then when it's current and the movie is, like, a thing that just happens to drop at some point.
Yeah.
But this time I was like, yeah, sure, watch it. And people seem to really like this movie, and they're right. It's very sick.
Nice.
The premise being that like the four characters are like the main four Precure are like scattered around this weird world, and also happen to just bump into assorted other Precure from like older seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And also like a new Precure called Cure Supreme, voiced by Maya Sakamoto.
Cure Supreme.
Yeah. Integral to the plot
Nice.
for reasons that are interesting to see in a Precure thing. Where I was like, oh, nice, that's cool. They did that. That's neat. And then the last like 15 minutes of the movie are like, hey, have you seen a lot of Precure? Well, this is for you. And I was like, oh, yes.
Oh, I see. Pure
amazing.
fan service for you.
Yeah, it's extremely good, but it's also like probably doesn't hit the same way if you haven't seen like almost every season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of good moments, very animated, good dynamics. They put like Sora in a group with like the previous two protagonists.
Okay.
Then they form the Gremlin team, and it's very funny. Let me show you the clip.
The clip.
Not
There's a clip.
Spoilers or anything. Yeah, I made a clip on Twitter. So
I see.
This is just a very good scene. Very animated movie.
Oh, yes. They animate these movies.
I saw posters for this movie when I was in Japan. I was like, oh, came out after I left, but would have been fun to see in theaters, I'm sure.
Yeah. This looks sick.
Yeah. I definitely recommend it, but I also don't know how like inscrutable it is if you haven't seen like a lot of
They managed to put the last season's Rice Girl in a context where she's fun.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, damn, I almost like her now.
Truly, it was so funny that I had such big plans. I was like, oh, I'm gonna keep up on new Precure and go back and watch old Precure, and I immediately ran into Delicious Party Precure. I was just like, am I going mad, or is this like not good? And check in with you. It's like, no, this is like mid as fuck.
Yeah, it's probably like the worst it's ever been. Somehow they make the characters cool. I guess that's a sign of a good crossover. Is like you still pop off for the characters you literally do not give a shit about.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh, yeah, it's them. They're doing something cool. They make a forgot what her Amane. I forgot what her Cure transformation is. See, that's how much I care about Cure.
Oh, this is Kira Yamato in the Gundam Shito. the little clip show that they got. Oh
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, Kira Yamato in his romance with
oh, he's so cute. He's so silly and fun. No, he's not. He's Kira Yamato.
Not to be confused with B-Ball, Kira Yamato.
Yes. That's a different guy.
According to that bracket, yes.
Yes. Yeah, a completely different guy. All right.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a good movie. Very exciting.
Is it one of those movies that's like an hour long?
It's an hour and a half.
Yeah, it was a full 90 minutes. Sick.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be only an hour, but yeah, it's like a full hour and a half or so. It's...
Nice.
Actually, let me double check. Yeah, a lot of double checking today. Because I still have the file. An hour and 12 minutes. So, yeah.
An hour and 12 minutes. That's a feature.
Yeah. Feature film.
Feature film.
Call Your Guys. And
Nice.
That's all
Movie
I
looks
got.
fun. Cool. No Brad this week. So...
Oh, wait, I had one more thing.
Oh, what's the one more thing?
I just remembered. You ever take on a really stupid project?
All the time.
Yeah. I finished the first season of Detective Conan.
Oh, now, I saw that you had done that, and I had just assumed, oh, well, she's being sensible. She's done now. She's like, well, I've seen the first season, I've seen Detective Conan. Mel, is that what you're doing?
No, it's a 28 of 1,000 episodes. That's not nowhere near done.
Yep.
Most of the classic guys haven't shown up yet.
I had assumed... I kind of assumed that the classic guys show up in season 1 and then it's just like The Simpsons forever.
No, apparently some classic guys don't show up for like another 6 seasons.
No.
Yeah.
So that's going to be ongoing.
Yeah. Just quick touch it.
How was season 1 of Detective Conan?
I thought it was really good. I can see how they Simpsoned it.
Oh, okay.
You got a good cast. Okay, how much do you even know about the premise of Detective Conan anyway, besides the fact it's Kid Detective?
I know that he was not a kid detective. And the mystery is why he's now a kid.
Yeah.
Like, he was a kid, but he wasn't a kid.
Yeah, like he was... You have, like, the protagonist, Shinichi, who's ace detective, high school student, solving crimes, gets whacked by some thugs, and they give him a poison to kill him, but it turns him into a kid instead.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's like, oh, I gotta hide my identity, or else the gang will come after me.
I see.
And so he just like looks at some detective novels on the shelf in the moment, and it's like, yeah, my name's Edogawa Conan. Yes, that's that's a name. That is my name.
Edogawa Conan. Thank you. Well done.
And he's basically stuck being like, quote unquote, adopted by the dad of his not girlfriend. In the sense that they would be dating if they in the sense that Shinichi and the girl Ran would be dating if they actually spoke of their feelings, but they're teenagers, so they don't.
Yes. I understand. Yes. So she is his de facto girlfriend.
Yeah. Leading to awkward moments where he's just like, she just thinks he's a regular child, and she's like, oh damn, it's the girl I like. She's cool. She's
now for presumably thousands of episodes.
Yes.
One day, someone's gonna ask, where the fuck did your de facto boyfriend go? What happened to him?
They actually kind of like, I think because season 1 is early on where they're not the Simpsoning it, and like they at least like sprinkle out the laying the groundwork of plot.
I see.
He does like get it covered by like making a fake phone call to her and just being like, hey, I'm on a difficult case, and so I'll be away for a bit.
Checks calendar. Real fucking difficult case.
No. No, don't worry. Apparently, according to the author, all of Detective Conan takes place within 1 year.
What? That's not true.
Just a floating timeline.
That's not true. That's not true.
It's ridiculous. But yeah, the formula is that, so, well, I guess you have like the main cat trio of like Conan, Ran, and then her dad, Detective Mori, who's like a private detective who sucks at being a detective. But also you have like these neighborhood kids. Forget the name right off the top of my head, but like, they're Conan's stuck as a kid, and so he has to like make friends with some kids, and they form the Detective Boys Club. Mm-hmm. One of them is a girl, though, much like the Hirogaru Precure.
Yeah.
And yeah, situations are like, basically, the episode is Conan is like, and whatever group he's palling around with, sometimes it's with like Ren and her dad, and sometimes with the kid group. They go out and doing something, and then at some point they just stumble on a crime, and then Conan has to solve it. And it's just like, man. Mm-hmm. I think where the fun comes in is that, like, if this was just like a Shinichi show, you could have like a few solid episodes, I think. But also, I feel like High School Ace Detective thing is a story that's been done before, and since, and so I think there's like limited mileage out of it. But I think what makes this one interesting is the fact that, like, he's the high school detective, but by being trapped in a child's body, he's like got the limiters put on him because, like, he can't physically do much.
Do people? Okay, now, do people believe him?
No.
Okay.
that is, and so a lot of it is not just like he is solving the mysteries when no one else is, when the adults are like slower at it, but like because they won't believe him because he's a child, he has to like take maneuvers while taking advantage of his childness to like lead the adult detectives to the correct conclusions by, like, you know,
I see.
Hey, old guy, isn't it funny how, like, points out a detail that, like, they overlooked, and, like, you know, drawing attention to it in a way that isn't conspicuous.
Right.
He has to, like, roleplay being a child, and through that way, sometimes the adults are able to solve or draw the through line in the cases that they wouldn't have if he was not there. Mm-hmm. And at the other end of things, the one person who knows his identity is his neighbor, who is a Dr. Light fellow, apparently, which means he just gets cool gadgets, like super kicking shoes and a hoverboard.
Oh, nice.
And the best combination, which is a bow tie, which has a microphone that changes his voice, combined with a watch that shoots sleeping darts. Do you know where I'm going with this?
Okay. So, hang on. Right. So, he has sleeping darts and a voice changer.
Yes.
Is he, like, impersonating people?
Yeah, whenever it's like, oh, Mori can't solve this case and he just needs to, like, crack the case, he'll, like, shoot a sleeping dart at Mori, and then Mori will, like, fall over and slouch over and then, like, and look like he's asleep, but he'll look like he's in a cool brooding pose.
Oh, I see.
And Conan will, like, duck behind a table and then speak into his microphone and do the Mori voice, and it'll sound like Mori has solved the case, but really it's Conan. And then from this, Mori has become like an ace detective reputation. And
really
it's so
good.
funny. It's like a really good bit, and it's like, oh man, it's so funny. And then he'll like wake up.
He manages to fall asleep in the right pose every time.
Yes.
Excellent.
And then it's just like, actually, I think one time it just doesn't work, but like other people are like on their way, and he has to like position him in a cool chair.
Okay, that's good.
And it's just like really funny. It's very versatile. It is an interesting and fun juxtaposition too, just to be like, oh, it's like this is basically Columbo, but a child anime. Yeah, that's showed for children, basically. So, like, having the justification of, like, oh, yeah, there's a murder mystery, but also being for kids is interesting. Because I feel like we don't get those much here, and by much I mean at all, in the West.
I think, like... I mean, there's plenty of family-friendly mystery stuff, murder mystery stuff, but not, like, explicitly for children. Like, you know, I think of, like... You know, I grew up watching, like, ITV3 reruns of fucking Poirot. But that's, you know, that's not for kids. It's not, like, gory.
Yeah. It did. The fact that, like, Conan just walks around in, like, everyday life and stumbles upon a murder every day, asterisk. It all takes us 1 year, don't worry about it. It did remind me of just, like, the British murder mysteries my mom likes. Because she's a big fan of Midsummer Murders, and the body count in that small town is really funny to think about.
Yes.
Even though I guess like Conan lives in Tokyo, so it's a bit more believable. In that case, the population's big enough.
Mm-hmm.
But it is funny. But yeah, they did. It's a very flexible, fun formula. It's so far very easy to watch. It's like one of those things where I can be like, oh yeah, I can pop it on. I can like put on one if I feel like it, or I can like binge a few, and it's it's fine.
Yeah,
I think that's nice. It's like good flexibility. I'm trying to deliberately not do it like I did Lupin, as like a chore.
one a day.
Yeah.
That
like
that did seem like hell in the end.
Yeah, I set myself like soft goals of like, well, if I can do like a season within a month, that's like reasonable, but also try not to like be too hard on myself so it doesn't become work.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of like the problem with Lupin is that like I did the math and I could physically do it in 1 year, which meant I had to. But the nice thing about Conan is it's impossible for me to do it in 1 year, and so I don't have to worry about it.
Nice.
The absurd length makes it freeing in a way.
Yeah. It is almost impossible to do.
Yeah. It's a Sisyphean task, but we move on.
I'm imagining you getting to the end of Conan and just being like, man, Sisyphus was full of shit. I would simply handle it.
Yeah, I would handle it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to, because like I saw some of those characters in like the Lupin crossovers. So there's a couple characters I'm like, oh, I want to see them because I know they're prominent, but like they're hundreds of episodes away. So like I want to know who like finds out his identity and stuff, because like some people do and like a lot of people don't. But like that's down the line. Mm-hmm. Someone free this child from
his
more child
childness. Yes.
Yes. It is funny the way that like Ren will sometimes be, oh, Shinichi, if only he was here, and it's just like a shoujo shot of like him in the sky, like he's dead, and not just like 2 feet beside her.
A small child.
Like it's also funny because like Shinichi's like kind of full of himself to a degree, at least early on. Brought down a peg by being a child, but also just like extremely moated in like the way of, oh man, I got put up with everyone's bullshit while being stuck in this child body. And he's just so tired all the time.
Nice.
Very funny protagonist. Voiced by Catty Mannequin.
Okay. That's cool.
I found out that she's one of the vocalists
DGP.
in 2 Mix.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I didn't know that until recently, which is cool. I like those Wing OPs more than the show, but
All right.
Also, she has a cool role in Our Catch. No spoilers for who that is, but
okay,
when you get there,
I will see.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Detective Conan for now.
Sick.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in that case, we can move on to Return of Ultraman.
Yeah.
Let me pull up these summaries here. Hopefully they're not too thrown together. I did them in a bit of a rush, but they should be okay. Now, I need to do a title check on episode 22 because this is amazing. Episode 22, title, I'll Kill This Monster. Is that the title?
No, the one I had is different.
Oh, what did you have?
Leave Jiren to me. I mean, leave the monster to me.
Oh, I prefer I'll Kill This Monster. Which I saw and I couldn't handle it. I was like, what the fuck? Okay. In a very fun sequence, we see a clown become obsessed with trash and cleaning it up. He winds up wandering onto a landfill site at night and like frolicking. He sees 2 glowing eyes in the dark of the night. Mysterious. Captain Kato is getting transferred to space, presumably to fill the role left behind by the dead genocidal Kurata. Captain Hibiki will replace him, but he's been held up in New York, dealing with something big. That leaves the team without a captain for about 5 hours. It's just 5 hours. Surely nothing bad could happen between now and then. bad news. Bad shit's happening. Jiro and his friend play around with some plastic that has rotted, which shouldn't be possible, and Go visits the landfill site the kids got the trash from and gets told all about how much trash Tokyo produces. There's earthquakes, which Go's guide brushes off, happens all the time. But then later on, jets of flame erupt from beneath the trash. Despite, getting told, hey, don't do anything rash between now and the new captain showing up. Go runs off in a jet and extinguishes the flames. He then gets back to base just in time to hear Hibiki on the radio saying, whatever you do, don't extinguish the flames. Hideki, stop. The reason is that the kaiju beneath the trash is getting oxygen from the flames, which doesn't seem right.
I think it's more like that the extinguishing fluid blocks oxygen access.
Oh yes, yes.
That's how it puts out the flame.
Okay, yes. The point is, with the flames extinguished, the kaiju will have to come to the surface. You fucked up Go, and now you're grounded for a few days. The rest of the team, minus Oka, launch to fight the kaiju.
Yeah, minus Oka. I also wrote this in my note.
Launch to fight the kaiju. It's like, Go, you're grounded, and then Oka stays behind as well. It's like, well, I'm grounded too, but not, on purpose. Yeah, they launch to fight the kaiju, and they get their shit rocked, because this kaiju rules. He keeps catching their missiles with its mouth and throwing them away. Go defies orders and launches, and gets fucked up, and turns into Ultraman. He has a rough time and is about to lose when Captain Hibiki shows up in a Matt Hawk and does loops around the kaiju until it gets dizzy and falls over. Then Ultraman finishes it off. Back at base, Hibiki is getting introduced to... also the clown emerges from the landfill and runs off, wailing.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Back at base, Hibiki is getting introduced to everyone, and they all have injuries. And when he shakes Go's hand, Go yelps because he got injured before transforming.
Well, first, Go is hesitant to shake hands because his arm is busted, and then Hibiki's like, "Oh, are you mad at me for grounding you?" And he goes like, "No, I get it. Don't worry. It just don't worry about it."
Shakes his hands, yelps, and Hibiki says, you fell down some stairs, didn't you? And goes like, yes, sir, absolutely. Do not fire me. Hibiki leaves the room and everyone celebrates Go keeping his job, and they celebrate by hitting him in the arm and stuff. The end.
Yeah.
This episode's pretty good.
Yeah, it was fun.
Sad to see Kato go. I liked him a lot.
I'm still not sure how I feel about Hibiki, so I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
Kato probably is the best captain we had. So
yeah, this is it. We have several times noted that Kato is probably the best captain so far, and to see him now go is like, oh, come on.
Yeah. So I get a production stuff. Got production stuff for later or now, depending on what you want to do.
I assume, is that production stuff related to the fact that he leaves?
Yes.
Might as well hit it now.
Yeah. Okay. Basically, his actor was having a lot of conflicting commitments at the same time, a bunch of jobs, and so he decided to leave the show, which is something that Super Production hadn't dealt with before.
Right.
So damn, what do we do? But they decided, well, if we have to bring in a new guy, we can really help shake things up. And they were originally going to get a guy, no name given, who's doesn't work, done a bit of small roles on Toho Kaiju movies. But they were like, no, not good enough. We gotta make a name for ourselves. We gotta get a big fish, a big name.
So who is this guy?
Because at the time it was they're well, most people don't take science fiction and special effects shows seriously. We want to boost their reputation and get more people in. And so through some business connections, they were able to get a guy called Jun Nagami, who was a major prolific film actor at the time.
Okay.
And I tried looking at his wiki page. I didn't recognize those movies because I'm not a Japanese film head, but he's been in a lot of shit at that time. So he seemed like a big deal.
Nice.
And he, brought brought in a lot of people who was like, oh shit, they got a really hot movie star in like their TV show.
In their like Doctor Who ass TV show.
Yeah, like I guess this would be like if I don't know a good comparison.
I mean, at some point, Doctor Who did get big enough to get like names, right?
Yeah, I know. Like Lawrence Fishburne was on CSI at some point.
Oh yeah. They got Lawrence Fishburne on CSI. He took over. He eventually took over as the boss of like the LA CSI stuff.
Yeah, something like that.
Gary Sinise is in the New York CSI.
Yeah, sometimes you just land a good big movie star.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, I guess while I'm still doing production side stuff, well, first of all, that you can find that info on Ultrabox DX, and also, yeah, Ultrabox DX as usual. Due to my intentionally not spoiling things this season, I'm getting a lot of mileage spread out from that article. Just going like, all right, scroll down a little bit. Now here's something for later.
Nice. Economical.
But yeah, some things to note. This kaiju was not done by Ken Kamagi.
Who was it done by?
But instead by Masashiro Suyasa, who apparently they make a note of saying in the Japanese Wiki article that he was in charge of sales at the time. I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Also, I forgot to mention this last week, but the Invisible Giant Elephant Kaiju was also done by a different guy.
Okay.
Called Taiko Toshimitsu.
Okay.
Who had done some other Toho work. So yeah.
Now
we've had a couple of like not Ken Kamagi stuff. He's still like the main guy, so like, if I don't mention it, assume it's by him. Yeah. So like, next episode is by him. Most of the ones from last week are also by him.
Now I'm not expecting a yes to this question, but do either of these two guys have principles? Have laws of kaiju design? Okay.
Yeah, they don't seem to like. They seem to be like one-off guys. So.
But when you're not in charge of it, you don't get to have your 3 laws of kaiju design.
Yeah. Also, since I've mentioned before, the kaiju suit actor, from what I could tell, primarily for most of the show has been Takanobu Toya. So just I know a guy who's in the suit.
Okay, cool.
Speaking of, that's all I got production stuff for this episode.
Cool. Speaking of this kaiju, good, fun. I like the spray weapon thing is. I'm like, you didn't need that. You didn't need the like web.
We're getting a bit too much of it.
Yeah, a bit too much web breath.
To be honest,
don't need it. Especially when the first thing this kaiju does when it gets attacked by Matt is the most hilarious shot of like they launch a missile and just the music cuts out and just grabs the missile out of the sky with its mouth and then just tosses it aside and it explodes.
Yeah.
Like it's fucking I don't have an example actually. But it's just, and he keeps doing this every time they launch a missile. It's just like, oh, dodge, oh, grab it with the mouth, throw it.
It's pretty good.
Very goofy. Kind of fits with. I guess he's a clown. Kind of. He's clown themed-ish, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Question mark. Who knows?
There is some environmental stuff going on in this episode. They break down.
You get one guy who just like spends 5 minutes going, yeah, Tokyo sure is producing a lot more trash than it did before. I need all the space to do it.
Yes.
Turns the camera.
Turns the camera. Gestures behind. It was like, look at all this land that's been ruined with landfill. And talking about how like
consumerism.
And it's like, oh yeah, look, there's like. When there's like earthquakes happening and this guy's like, don't worry about it, that happens all the time on the ground under here. And I'm like, damn, really? is that a true thing? I don't know. But yeah, extremely Return of Ultraman has kind of like kept coming back to not the most optimistic view of society.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, they don't have the most optimistic view of Matt either.
This is true. This is connected. But this is a much more cynical show, I think. And this is not to its detriment. I think this is all,
Kishida's show.
This is all fine and good. This is Kishida. Yes, Kishida is. Show him this landfill. It'd be like. But yes, it
was fun.
The clown thing. He vanishes.
It's an interesting tone setter of the intro.
Yeah, it's like
I think the
fun.
implication was like that it was set in New York, and they wanted a fun reason to not have anyone actually try and speak English.
Yes, but then he shows up in the Japanese trash.
Yeah.
At the end, maybe it's a teleport. Maybe there's a black hole underneath landfill sites.
Garbage teleport.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is fun. The kaiju's fun. Go just being like, I put out the fires because I was supposed to, and he's just like, you're grounded. Dipshit.
His face when the announcement's coming through that whatever you do not extinguish the fires. And he's like, oh, I extinguished the fires. That's what I did.
It is.
But black dynamite.
It is really funny when they're like, he'll be here in like 3 hours. And like he goes like 3 hours. Hope nothing bad happens that time. And then Nera's like, unfortunately, something did happen that time. You just see the landfill on fire.
But Captain Hibiki, I extinguished the jets of flame. It's fantastic. Go continues to run off half-cocked on like all the time. And so it'll remains to be seen. We don't get much of Hibiki in like the next couple of episodes. He gets like his action hero stuff here where he does like loops around the kaiju, but other than that, we haven't got much from him yet.
So we'll see.
Yeah,
how we grow on it.
I imagine they'll give him stuff as he's like a big star.
Yeah,
like they'll want to make use of him.
Yeah, like you wouldn't want to just get your big name star and he just like takes a check for showing up and doesn't do much.
Yeah,
but also that does happen sometimes.
That does happen sometimes, but I did notice that he was the guy that ran in and saved the kid in the third episode.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, he'll get some stuff. Now, what's the next episode here?
Yeah.
Also, go ahead.
Just want to comment, like, I thought the Kato goodbye scene was good, but also it is extremely like of the era where it's just like, well, he's leaving. We gotta get him out of here.
I suppose, yeah, we didn't really talk about it, but it was quite. I did like it. I was like, oh, it's sad to see him go, but I think it was pretty good. Like the whole like Go driving him away and like everyone following in the distance, and waving him goodbye from the Jeep, and he's like holding it together, peering through the binoculars. I'm gonna miss Kato. Liked him. Liked that guy.
Just like, hey, don't get up to mischief before the captain comes up.
And then he does.
Plot of the episode happens.
Captain Kato, I'm afraid I have got up to mischief immediately.
Also, Brad didn't leave us his thoughts on the episode because he didn't really get a chance to get into them.
Yes, he has been busy.
Yeah. But he did leave our production notes, so this episode is directed by Eizo Yamagiwa and written by Shinichi Ichikawa.
Mm-hmm. Now what was Eizo Yamagiwa's?
Yeah, we still need that spreadsheet filled out so I can remember most of these
Brad's
names.
not here, we'll drag him.
Yeah. I sometimes feel bad for saying it too much, but also I'm like, please. I can't remember all of these names.
Yamagiwa started on Return of Ultraman. Okay.
Is he or is he not the cult guy?
He might be the cult guy. I don't know. I can't remember. We get a lot of names come through. It takes a minute for them to
some names stick out, but some of them is just like
Okay,
I remember
started in episode 15, did episode 15, 16, and 17. Does that sound like about the right time for us to be talking about the cult guy?
I think so. I think so. I think so.
Sounds kind of there.
Yeah. Okay.
So this might be the cult guy. All right.
Might be the cult guy.
And Shinichi Ichikawa, written by. Okay, cool. All right. Episode 23.
Yeah.
The title I have, Dark Monster Spit Out the Stars.
I have Spit Out the Stars. Dark Monster.
Oka and Go head up to the roof to watch a solar eclipse. They talk about how Oka thinks of the sun or the moon as a messenger, and then when the moon has completely covered the sun, a mysterious woman appears behind them. She predicts that the Big Dipper will disappear, and then when the eclipse passes, she's gone. Later, at the Sakura's place, Go finds out that the Big Dipper has, in fact, disappeared. It's time for an investigation. Now, I'm going to go a little bit out of order here, but for ease of summary, Oka investigates the strange woman. She turns out to be Junko, a fortune teller who is currently not in such a great way. She claims to have lost her power and that it's connected to her star sign, Cancer. The stars of Cancer are being eaten. Oka brings her into the base, and that's kind of the extent of her involvement. She's like resting in bed at the base. Go and the boys, meanwhile, are dealing with a crab kaiju that lands on Earth. Hibiki theorizes that this kaiju is from the stars of Cancer and is fleeing a larger threat. Indeed, Go and Oka learn from an astronomer that a huge dark presence that is eating stars seems to be approaching Earth, perhaps in pursuit of this crab kaiju. The Earth will be destroyed in 12 hours. The astronomer says he'll keep this a secret. Better that no one knows. Despite knowing this, the MAT and Ultraman still fuck up the crab kaiju, and Ultraman cuts off its arms. It's only at this point he stops and thinks, hang on, I should be dealing with the huge space kaiju that's going to destroy the world, and then this innocent refugee can go home. So he does. He flies up into space and into this huge space kaiju, suffers through gravity that would compress the Earth to the size of a sugar cube, and then punctures the kaiju from the inside like a balloon. It deflates, the stars and planets are released, and I guess they are returned to their rightful place.
Yeah, it's like what happens when the Precures win, but like on a cosmic level.
Yes, yeah, everything just gets fixed. It's fine, don't worry about it. Ultraman lands on Earth, and the crab kaiju flies off back to the stars of Cancer. And don't worry, kids, crab limbs grow back. It's really cool. You can watch videos about it online. Crabs are really cool. Sometimes, if they've got an injured limb, they will just pull it off themselves and let it grow back. Crabs rule. The fortune teller wakes up and her power has returned. I think that's what it is. The end.
Yeah, she's normal now.
First of all,
her mental illness is fixed.
Her mental yeah, she's fixed.
Yeah.
Now, first of all, I have a Return of Ultraman notes that solar eclipses are a rarity in Tokyo. Those words exactly. Return of Ultraman. Yeah. I think you will find that most places solar eclipses are a rarity.
Yeah.
I wonder if there are places. I wonder what the rate of solar eclipse is. I bet there's places on Earth where you're more likely to get them.
Yeah.
But this is such an odd way of describing the rarity of solar eclipses. Like, oh, in Tokyo, these don't come by very often. We have got Oka doing stuff, but it's like the briefest of stuff.
Yeah, Oka is here. And she's doing stuff, but does feel like she's kind of relegated to like minimal stuff while also being like the woman role, kind of.
And it's not like it's the fortune teller bit is like kind of strange. It's like not centralized to the plot. I think it maybe should be. I think it should be a bigger deal. I think the characters should care about, what happens to her more. But the world's at stake, so it's like, well, it's like everyone's day is gonna be ruined. Everyone's gonna die.
It's funny how much there's just like world-ending cataclysm. But also Ultraman does just deal with it. In like the middle of the show rather than like the climax. It's just like
the actual like space kaiju that is the big problem is I quite like. It's like this weird glowy mass with like vacuum mouth and just sucks everything in like a black hole.
It's really cool.
Yeah. Winds up bouncing around inside and eventually just pops it.
Yeah, it does feel weird to just be like, oh yeah, this is a crab kaiju from the crab from Cancer constellation, and that's why it's
a crab.
Spiritually tied to the crab, and even though it's like a fake Earth thing, that's because of our perspective. But don't worry about it.
It's it's also funny. It's also funny that specifically, I guess it's because she has like mystical powers that she's deeply connected to her sign, and that's why it's affecting her. But it did briefly occur to me in the middle of the episode, it's like presumably 1/12 of human beings have the same star sign.
Yeah, me a Pisces, I wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't. Yeah, you'd be fine.
I'd be fine. Pisces wouldn't do this.
Pisces wouldn't. Well, can fish grow back their limbs if you tear them off? I guess that's a win for Cancer. I picked. I picked a fight with Pisces, and I'm sticking to my guns.
I wonder how Grandmacker would feel with this episode.
Oh man.
We probably should have Ueno say something because he's the horoscopes guy, according to episode one and no episode after.
Yeah, that one episode, Ueno was... Yeah, what's he doing? What's he talking about?
Well, he's probably drinking in the back.
Yeah, he's guzzling. That's his favorite thing. This is his favorite pastime.
Yeah. Here's like a picture of the concept art for the original design for Vacuumon by Ken Kamaki. It was really good to have more like a head shape.
What the fuck is this, Ken?
I think drawing a weird alien cloud is better.
Okay, this is so goofy. Weird splodge of a thing. Much less menacing than what we get, which is like fucking glowy black hole stuff. It never shows you like the edges of the kaiju. You don't get to see the whole thing at once. As far as I could tell.
It's cool. We got like another inside the body thing. I was a big fan
of that kind of world, that kind of, like almost like galactic level threat. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. It's cool we had another, like, inside the body type thing.
Yeah. It's always fun when Ultraman... well, I guess Ultraman didn't. It was Ultra 7 that did. When we have, like, diving into the body and fucking things up internally.
Yeah.
Do we have any production notes on this? Okay.
Well, can you scroll up? Because I'm on phone now.
Oh, yes. I will scroll up. Episode 23. Yamagiwa, once again. Written by Toshihiro Ishido. A name I'm not sure I recognize.
Yeah, we'll have to loop around back to that one.
Let me have a quick little look at. Okay, just Return of Ultraman. 9 episodes. Which episodes? Tell me which episodes. I'm not finding this. But we probably had him before. And yes, directed by a man I suspect of being the Cult Man.
The Cult Man, that's what he's known as now.
That's what he's known as now. Let me actually... I'm not seeing anything on, like, his Japanese Wikipedia. So maybe he's not the Cult Man. I might have slandered this man. Who knows? Who knows? I couldn't say.
Oh, no.
I'm not the expert. But yes, I thought this episode was pretty good. I thought it was fun. I think it's a bit silly that we kind of have like this very brief stuff for Oka, and then we also spend like plenty of time fucking about with the crab kaiju, even after we know it's innocent.
They are the monster attack team.
They are the monster. The monster shows up, we attack. That is in their job title.
Only Ultraman can spare them.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's nice that we got to spare a kaiju again.
Yeah.
We're getting more of that these days, which is nice. Always appreciated.
Yeah.
We do like the kaiju. We like it when they're good and they live.
Yeah, our friends.
Our friends.
Now Teraraki, he might have issues with sparing a space kaiju, but it goes back to its home planet, so it's probably okay.
Yeah. That's that would please Teraraki. He'd be okay with that.
I like how we somehow twisted Teraraki from being like the guy who like respects kaiju nature to being like the guy who's like ruthless against space kaiju.
Yeah, he's like a fucking, well, you know, everyone has a place where they should be. that's their home, and they should stay there.
He has control.
He has control. Okay.
Now, I did want to bring something else up.
Go ahead.
We have another case of someone having an issue and then it getting resolved when the situation is over.
Yes. So this is like, I think, probably the least egregious one, because it is like her mystical power that, I mean, on some level this is you know, this is like fortune teller stuff, and so it is in some way egregious in particular ways, but within that it is like a magical power that she gets, and it is getting harmed by the destruction of her star sign. And when Cancer is restored to its rightful place among the stars, she is healed. And
then she starts drinking some water, like Ueno.
Yep. Guzzling. I think like this is another, because it's another one in like a long string of Return of Ultraman keeps fucking doing this. It like, you know, is noticeable, but I think in isolation it doesn't strike me as odd. Yeah.
That said, I do feel like this has happened enough times that it leaves me feeling like
I believe in miracle. Ultraman, thank you.
Thank you.
We should keep track.
We will be keeping track. Do we have a number?
So just running it out based off memory. I don't know if there's any in the previous seasons, so we won't worry about that unless someone emails in to remember if there's a case in Ultraman or All 7.
I see.
But but we got Go's injured leg in episode 4. The Ghost Girl in episode 2, 12, who can start walking again.
Yeah.
Shiro and his limp when with elected Elidor, or whatever his name is.
Yep.
That one girl who got blinded, they got okay again.
Okay, yeah. The kidnapped one.
Jiro last week.
Yes.
And then also Go with Magnodon last week.
Yes. 6. Jiro burns. Yeah, no, not Jiro burns. Go burns. Yes.
Yeah.
And now...
So I think we got this girl...
That puts us at 7. Nice. 7. Fuck. See, now we have to hope it comes up again.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a one-time gag.
Yeah, I should have done this earlier, but
I believe in Return of Ultraman's belief that you can just will yourself out of the hospital bed.
Unless you're Ken.
Unless you're Ken. What does this show think about Ken? It just thinks he's a fucking loser. Bro, why don't you just believe in your leg? It'll be fine.
Yeah, why don't you go to the mountain, like, Go.
Yeah, well, in order to heal your permanent injury, I would simply carry logs up the mountain. Like a normal person.
Apparently Ken thought it was the normal, but not for him.
No.
I think that's episode 23.
Okay, episode 24. Now, I know that this one is a mistranslation because there's a word in here that is not appropriate for what is depicted in the show. Horror.
Okay.
Mansion monster's birth. What mansion?
Yeah, I feel like you find the episode is called
home?
The Frightening Cosmic Rays. I mean, Horror, Birth of the Apartment Monster.
Yep, threatening, yep, cosmic rays. Yes, apartment monster makes perfect sense. I see how you get to mansion because that's how you can various translations like, maison, etc., etc. But it's not a mansion, it's an apartment. Okay.
Yep.
Episode 24. The least talented child actor in history is stuck at home while his mum is busy with work. He's not supposed to go outside, but he does anyway, because he's fucking bored. YouTube hasn't been invented yet. He meets up with Jiro and his gang, and they watch the Mat do maybe the most hilarious shit I've ever seen.
It's so funny.
They have this adorable little space kaiju locked in a cage. It hasn't done anything, but it's from space, so they can't risk it. The kids watch them execute this little guy with lasers, and it fucking explodes, and I have to pause the episode so I can recover. She just blew the fuck up.
It's just... the kaiju in the cage is so funny. And they blow it up.
He's the cutest little guy. It's never been more obvious that the Monster Attack team are fucking criminals. This tiny little thing, just like, oh, I'm just a little guy. It just fucking explode it. Ridiculous shit. Anyway, Hibiki is like, over the radio, he's like, you blew it up? Morons. Burn it. Collect all the pieces and burn them. But the least talented child actor in history has picked up a little piece and taken it home. He glues it to the wall, and then some Gavadon shit starts happening. A drawing of the kaiju appears where the piece previously was, and when the kid talks about how it should be bigger and have horns, etc., the drawing grows and changes to match his description. Late at night, the kid's mum returns and finds the place a wreck. The kid wakes up and is like, what? Beats me. I didn't do it. His mum doesn't believe him until she sees the drawing, which is now glowing and growling and, like, throbbing. She calls in Matt, and Go and Kishida arrive on the scene and are like, we'll handle this. And then they pull their guns to shoot the drawing. The kid warns them he gave the kaiju armor that reflects matte lasers, but they shoot anyway, and shit goes bad. It doesn't damage the kaiju, but it does... Sorry, a spider just fell from the fucking ceiling. It doesn't damage the kaiju, but it does anger it, and it fucking spawns into the real world and wrecks the apartment block. The kid is stuck, and Go runs into the collapsing building to save him. He manages to get the kid out of a falling elevator and then turns into Ultraman as he plummets to his death. Hibiki saves the kid, and Ultraman fights the kaiju, which has a laser shooting tail and its horns, and lots of horns and a turtle shell. The kid, now watching the fight, yells out that you have to rotate the horns backwards. That's Kingstron's weakness. He named it Kingstron. Ultraman turns the horns and then fucks up Kingstron. Go appears from the rubble of the building, and everyone is happy he made it out alive. The end.
Go just lobs that kid at the end.
Yes. So, aside from this is a ridiculous episode. First of all, you might have picked up from my derision, that, this kid is fucking, you could not have picked a more just blank slate kid in the world.
Yeah. He's kind of whatever.
Obviously, it sucks to talk shit about a kid. So it's not his fault. But it's like Jiro's got decent kid acting. He does it. He's got it kind of. The explosion is hilarious. The Gavidon stuff, this spin on the Gavidon thing is kind of fun. I'm kind of into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I like how the kid's just like, in a very kid way, I give him the super armor that makes him invincible, and then he has crazy laser breath, and he's on a bunch of horns, and he basically just like the weapons don't work because the kid did playground rules for winning a battle. He's like, you can't beat me because I'm invincible.
And it works. I also there's also in typical Return of Ultraman fashion, less more cynical about just people. Whereas Gavidon, his whole deal was like the kids cheering him on, and they're like, oh, Gavidon's cool. Let's make Gavidon even cooler. This time he's like, oh, Kingstron, you're gonna fuck up the world for me. I hate everything. It sucks. It's you and me.
He hates the world because the security guard's kind of a prick.
Yeah, the security. He didn't come up in my summary because on the one hand he matters, on the other hand it kind of doesn't. The security, he has like a weird security guard in the apartment block that won't let his friends come and play. That's why he goes Joker mode. Little weak compared to Shiro as far as Joker moded kids go.
Yeah.
This one did not kidnap any other rich kids and impersonate them.
Yeah, this is what Jun will become, because Gento's never around.
Oh yeah, you're right. Jun. Oh, we didn't get him deep enough into his Joker arc for us to get, because Jun got a Gavidon episode.
Yeah,
but we didn't get this.
Scarred blows up Gavidon.
Yes, God. I mean,
the shot of the cage is so funny, and then it explodes.
It's just a tiny little cute little thing in a cage, just like making.
I think I know what the YouTube thumbnail is going to be today.
Yes, And then it blows up. And the one thing I can think when it blew up was when I immediately paused it was I was like, there's an edit you could do here of the fucking... You know that famous like ending of that movie where the guy launches a rocket at the bad guy and blows him up, and it immediately pauses, and then the credits play and text comes up saying, "Oh, the main character was arrested for murder." I haven't
seen the movie, but I've seen the clip.
Yes, that one clip. That is what I was thinking about the explosion of this poor kaiju. It's just because it just turned up from space, and they're like, can't risk it. You've risked it. You let that one go last week, but this guy has to die. Why?
It's so funny. I think we haven't also commented on the fact that had a lot of weird rocks in recent episodes.
Wait, we haven't had many weird rocks?
No, we haven't had we haven't got a bunch of weird rocks since like Ultra 7, but then we got some in the past.
Oh
bit,
yeah,
so.
yeah. We're getting a resurgence.
Classic staple.
Yeah, resurgence of weird rocks. That's good. We
need our weird plant guys again.
Oh, we are missing weird plant guys. Do you remember the guy that came out of the closet?
Yeah.
Oh man,
the episode of Ultraman is terrible.
Yeah, that's why it's pretty good. Many such cases. Yeah, man. What else are we missing? We've gone through like multiple modes of stuff, and so there is some stuff we're missing. We're missing weird ancient stuff, which is probably for the best considering how often it's
racism.
How often it's just racist. But it is interesting that we left the 60s and we left that behind.
Yeah. Which episode's gonna get me to read another Edward Said book?
It'll happen. I believe in Ultraman.
The culture and imperialism episode of Ultraman.
Yeah, it's essentials.
Yeah.
Every kid in this show knows Jiro. All of them. He's like the one. He's the connection to kids. But it is funny that they're all already friends with him, no matter who they are or where they are in Tokyo.
I assume he's just popular because they know he knows Matt. So he's
they're not his real friends. Oh, he's gonna go Joker mode for real. Yeah,
I mean, you can see how like whenever Matt loses, they're just like, oh man, that sucks.
Yeah. Oh
it's your
man.
fault. Sure.
Oh, it hurts him the most because that's his only way of getting friends. There we are. We're getting to it. We're getting to the real reason why he almost fucking died because Matt lost a fight.
And that's how Ida gets to.
Yes. He has the Ide comes to him and like you can't connect your worth to the success of Matt because they will always fail. And then he's like, well, no, they do eventually win every week, and Ide's like, no, they will always fail. Shut
up. To be fair, Ultraman wins.
Ultraman wins every week. Matt doesn't win every. Oh, okay, there we go. I love the idea of Ide saying, like, you have to instead put your trust in Ultraman. What else is going on in this episode that's worth talking about?
I mean, the mom sucks, but that's not much to say here.
Yeah, the mom sucks, but it's like, so here's the thing. I am so used to like latchkey kids in Japanese media as just a convenience that I can't tell when they're doing it deliberately. I can't tell when they're doing it as like, man, the mom should really be around. To the point that like, I think that's what's happening in this episode, but also I'm like, Oh, it's just, that just happens in toku and in anime. That's just a thing. Don't worry about it. Kids handle it.
The kid looking out the window, I like Squidward looking at SpongeBob and Patrick.
Yeah, I assume this is much more like criticism of like how the family structure is operating in, current Japan with like.
Yeah.
Like the dad's off doing work, and also the mum's out because of like professional reasons too, right?
Yeah, but the dad's also like overseas, so he's like not even around.
Yeah. So and which then creates the dynamic where it's like blaming the mum for problems that are ultimately the dad's fault because she's like present, kind of like as much as can be. Classic dynamic.
Yeah. I wonder what Jiro would say. Do not ask Jiro what he'd say.
Do not... Woman, what are you doing getting a job? That's Jiro's opinion. He's been learning some weird shit.
Yeah, Ide tries to like bring Jiro to his side of like the kaiju arts, but instead Jiro just becomes Andrew Tate.
Oh, man. Jiro... Ide tells him stories about Anne, and Jiro's like, damn, women suck. Women can't do shit. Oh, man. Ultraman...
Just like, keep your kaiju.
Ultraman really has to improve on women someday. I mean, we know it kind of does. We know it. We watch Blazer.
Yeah.
All right. The other thing.
Hopefully next time in Ultraman Ace.
Yeah. The other thing to note in this episode is the effect on like the drawing. I think it's cool. It's not quite like when Gavadon was like bulging out and growing out of the drawing.
Yeah.
But it is, it's pretty effective.
The drawing is cool. I like the elevator stuff. Just like a set piece.
Yeah.
We haven't had much of those in the series, so.
Yeah, that's true. That was pretty good.
It is very funny that like Go has to die for Ultraman to show up.
Every time he really has to throw himself to death. Every time, it's that as his trigger instead of just like because Dan would do this a lot, but he'd fake it. He'd like, oh, I'm gonna dive into like the tornado or whatever he used to do, and then he'd put the glasses on, the eyes on, and then he'd turn into Ultra 7. But this time it's like, no, the trigger is I have to get fucked up real bad.
Go has no control over this.
So one day he's gonna do it, and Ultraman's gonna be like, nah, you know what? I don't think this one was worth it. So I think you're just done. I don't think I'm gonna be fixing this. I think this is no. I don't care about this.
The camera starts spinning around like Go's head, but instead of transforming, he just dies.
Yeah. It cuts to the grave.
The camera. It's always so goofy when you just see they just spin the camera around whenever he's out to transform.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
We didn't talk about last week. We forgot to mention the running henshin was cool.
Yes, last week he did like a running transformation. He turned into Ultraman, and Ultraman was tiny, and then got big, and Ultraman was like running along. It was like briefly like Ultra 7 shit. Because we haven't talked much about the fact that Ultraman's just big all the time now, as opposed to Ultra 7, when Ultra 7 could be just any size.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think like Ultraman's bigness is like more of a core facet of Ultraman's identity.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, do we have anything more to say about horror mansion monsters birth?
No, not really.
Okay, production notes. Briefest of production notes here. The director, Yoshiharu Tomita, and writer Shozo Uehara. Shozo Uehara, this is kind of his show. Let me quickly look up Tomita. What was the name? Yoshiharu. There we go. I don't see an Ultra Wiki entry, so I guess he's on Anime News Network.
Rip. Interesting.
IMDb, you're my best. You're my only hope. Okay, he was on Captain Ultra. He was on Return of Ultraman. Looks like he started.
I'm curious now how many of the Ultra guys were working on Captain Ultra, just because I know it wasn't a Super production.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But also, some of the writers were probably on it at some point.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, if we don't have anything more, that might be a podcast. I say.
Well,
we have some extras. We'll be talking about
we
Precure after we play some music.
We got color timers and email.
Oh, color timers. Oh, yes, color timers. Shoot.
I gotta say, bad week to week this week.
Uh-oh.
Episode 22, 4 minutes, 17 seconds.
Very bad.
Episode 23, 3 minutes, 53 seconds.
Oof.
Episode 24, 3 minutes, 23 seconds.
They're getting there. Next week they'll be under 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Man. Color timer taking L's this week.
Yeah.
Alright, emails.
Yeah. We got our usual subjects email sent an hour ago while we were recording. So
oh man,
nice one.
Good timing.
Subjects are hello again. Subject is no more blazing.
No more blazing.
Correct. Alas, there's nothing more to blaze. My Monday commutes home from work will now be slightly more boring for the next 2 months. Yeah, too bad.
I would,
Take it up with Subaraya.
There are other take it up with Subaraya. Also, there are other podcasts you can listen to.
Yeah.
No, there aren't actually. It's just
we're
us.
The only Ultraman podcast.
Yeah, it's just us. No one should listen. Yeah.
He was surprised how much all of us seem to agree on the finale of the show. Pretty much else I've seen says the finale was hype and peak in Kino and all that other stuff, but literally happens every year, so they're kind of numb by now unless something really spectacular happens. I get that.
I mean,
last thing.
It was cool when he did the beam. It's just we had some quibbles about why he was able to do it. And where the source of his power
cool.
came
You didn't
from.
earn it, but it's cool. One last thing he forgot to mention before Blader Club's #irrelevant is how our old buddy Kiyotaka Taguchi is part of the backing chorus for Blazer's OP apparently. So hey, that's cool.
Oh, that is cool. That's a good OP.
With regards to last week's stuff, so way later on circa 2012-ish, the Mad Lads and Super are working on one of the recap seasons to fill the air at the time, and then a group of villains took over the show to recap a bunch of their escapades, and then they used Beacon to hack the Hairwaves, and they found the original Beacon suit and fixed it up for the episode 4 years later after it was last seen on screen, and that's cool.
That is cool.
This week, though, we got to see this single least marketable Ultra Kaiju ever conceived, the Big Bad Cloud. Why the thing was never a toy. Don't worry about it, it's sick.
Man, you're right though. You can't make a toy of that. It's too cool to make a toy of. It's just too big.
He's also got throwing some shade at Brad.
Oh, classic. Oh, you can do that while
He
he's not here.
Says, I know Brad isn't here directly hear this, but it was so obvious he's been somehow trying to make a Brucey bonus reference for weeks now, and the fact he didn't use it properly was cringy.
He used it properly. It was fine. He did it. It's alright.
Oh no!
The virtue of the Brucey bonus has been tarnished. I have not thought about Bruce Forsyth as often as I've had to recently on this fucking podcast.
They say our next assignment is to find a way to insert the phrase "time to bring on the chaser" in next week's show.
No.
I take issue with that specifically.
Oh man, time to bring on no. No. So Mel, there is a TV show called The Chaser.
Okay.
Or it's called The Chase.
Okay.
It's a quiz show in which the contestants have to, in like general knowledge quiz, they have to beat someone who is called The Chaser. Would you like me to send you an image of the various people that are referred to as The Chaser?
Okay, go ahead. Also, just to round out the email, they do call you out for not meeting them behind Tesco's.
No, I chickened out. All right. So one of these guys, so the guy in the blue suit at the front of this is the host. He's not the chaser, but everyone else in this image is the chaser.
I love this blue suit guy's pose. Council of Chasers.
Yep, the Council of Chasers. Man, it's a very popular quiz show over here. I don't,
Thank you, British television.
You're welcome.
Asterisk.
Yeah. Anyway, all right.
Anyway,
sick. Did Cydrixa have anything else, or was it just that last one?
That
cursed? Thank you.
Last one.
Thank you, Cydrixa. As always. All right. Well, I guess what we will do is we will briefly mention plugs just right now.
Yeah, we'll do plugs and then transition, just like the G-Wave stuff.
Yes, I assumed that was how we did it. So if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can do so at @ultra_Q. That is at @ultra_QUEUE. I am also on Twitter. I'm at gender_redacted. And that's my stuff. Mel.
Hey, you can follow me at Twitter and Blue Sky at Dear Crowns. We have an email, ultipod@gmail.com. And we have the fund, Ultra Fund, on the coffee. All those links are in the description.
Mm-hmm.
And I forget Brad's plugs because the name changed.
On
but look up
Twitter,
on Twitter.
Yeah, it's B_invoked. And on YouTube, it's Canopus invoked. Yeah. Sick.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll be transitioning over to talking about Precure. So if you want to hear about fucking magical girls, stick around. If you're a coward and you don't like girly shit, get out. And come back next week. We'll be watching 3 more episodes of Return of Ultraman. There will be no more Blazer because the show's fucking done. It's blazed.
Yeah. Until the movie next month.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Bye for now.
I was gonna say something, but I guess it doesn't matter until later. But
what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say that like the kaiju sorter will be for the movie episode, so I'll send it out. I'll make that available for people to send in when the movie is available.
All right. Sick.
I'm assuming the movie will be out too short notice for us to like do it right away, so we may have like a week gap.
Yeah, probably. That's what I'm. If there's a buffer, and we manage it. If not, then just assume the episode is coming.
Yeah,
All right.
we'll find a way to make sure that people can get the sorter before the movie episode, though. So.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I might play the fucking transformation music. Not the
That'd
full,
be good.
not the full thing, but like, well, I mean, you know, maybe I'll be playing it in the background, like right here.
Yeah.
You know,
How the sauce is just made, they won't hear this.
Sky Mirage. So, it's been a year. We mentioned it when we started it last January. Hirogaru Sky Precure.
Yeah.
And it's done. It's wrapped up. It was a big anniversary show. There's like been a bunch of like references throughout. And
20 years.
Yeah. Yeah. So, broadly, how do we feel about Hirogaru Sky Precure?
How do you feel? I want to hear your thoughts first.
Okay, my thoughts are, I really like it. I think it's a good show. I think there are a couple of things I would change. There are a couple of things where I think it's like some blips in like the plot towards the end. But like I think overall I like the main 4 Precures, and I like when I like I think there's like early stuff I like, and then from Cure Majesty shows up, and that kind of injects some life into the show again, and I was kind of like, okay, I'm back, and like then they return to like the episodic stuff, and it was again just feeling like a little more like, I'm back, I'm back in, whereas like it kind of spun its wheels for like I don't know, like 5-10 episodes or something, but no, I think overall it's good. I had a good time, and I watched the last episode and I was satisfied with this morning I was satisfied with them beating the bad guys and saying goodbye, and then coming back again immediately because it's a cartoon.
Yeah. Yeah, I think on whole I feel pretty good. I do think I felt in the first like 20-ish episodes of the show, I was like, oh man, this is amazing. This is like going to be a new favorite. And then I think I lost steam in like the mid-20s to the 30s, even after Cure Majesty showed up. I was like, yes, she is cool, but I don't know if she's like hooking me in the same, partly because she's a baby. She's
a baby, yes.
I do feel like when they aged her up, they could have done that a bit sooner.
Yeah, they could have made it like a permanent transition and like been like having her grow up like quicker throughout the show.
Yeah, that's the thing that most other seasons have done when they've done like kind of baby character.
Okay.
That grows up. It's usually more spread out. And like I think the idea of like her being like the baby becomes an adult is fun, but I also feel like if they made her like growing up a bit more sooner than like the fifth to last episode, you could have had more going on for her, because I think like there's a degree to it like, well, she's not a character when she's a baby. Kind of. Well, she is a character, but
yeah, the
I feel like the show did like get me more again during the last stretch, which is nice. But I also feel like it's missed opportunities / pulled punches that makes it feel like there are things about the end game that I feel a bit disappointing to me, and I feel like maybe a bit cooler than I thought it would have been. And maybe it's a show where like I revisit in the future and I'll reassess how I feel. But I also feel like the finale was just really good, and I was like, oh yeah, this is a good finale. It makes me feel a lot better about the show.
Mm-hmm. So we can get into some of those quibbles about the plot. Getting like closer towards the end, they introduce Spearhead as one of the bad guys.
Yeah.
And he's like much more serious business than the previous bad guys. And
yeah, he felt kind of weird because he just shows up and I'm kind of like, who are you? And he's kind of boring for most of the show.
And then he briefly reveals that he might be interesting. When Sora like asks him why he's doing it, and he says like, "Oh, we're doing this for the one that we love," and it's like, oh, Spearhead's a character. Spearhead has loyalty. Yeah. And the annoying thing about the last few episodes of the plot is, no, he didn't.
He lied.
It was actually deception. It was a lie for no reason.
Yeah, like they were doing some interesting stuff. Like I really got interested in like the Noble and Kaiserin backstory stuff, where they reveal like, oh yeah, the princess of the Underground Empire, who he basically was a non-entity for most of the show, other than like, well, that's where the generals come from.
Yeah. The thing where like it turns out, because there's like this whole backstory about like, some cycle of violence stuff, some like, we have to give up this constant revenge against each other, where first of all, very cool, the Cure Noble, the reveal, the whole like Sora and Mashiro go back in time, and they get to know the original legendary Precure in this world, and she's the princess, and she turns into like Cure Noble, and it's like some, it's on some fucking like King Arthur bullshit, and I'm like, well, yeah, that's pretty cool, but and then this turns into like her and the bad guy of this show's like dad getting into fights with each other, and the Kaiserin, the princess, the princess of the Undergoo Empire, like putting herself between them and like getting hurt, and like this creates peace. And then it's like, well, how did that peace break apart again? And the answer is boring.
Yeah, it was like it was hinting at something interesting, but it couldn't commit to it.
Yes,
it became boring because like what they hinted at was like the good kingdom and the dark kingdom formed upon and were peaceful, but the light kingdom grew mistrustful, and then Cure Noble assassinated Kaiserin's dad, and that's why she hates the Precure. And it's like, oh, this is interesting. This is like a thing they could do interesting stuff with. And then it's like, oh no, Spearhead just did it and then falsified the memories. Yeah, don't worry about it. And it's like, well, that just sucks.
And
he's just a guy who is evil for evil reasons, and he does the evil thing, and it took away all the.
Yeah,
it made it frictionless.
And the other thing about it is like the dynamic between him and the princess before this reveal is cool, because he's like, he's teaching her things that are wrong, but like it's sympathetic. His death is like sympathetic.
His quote unquote death. Yes.
But where he's like, you have to remember that strength is everything, and it's like, you're wrong, but like he's like this completely loyal pawn of hers, and it's it's good. It's like it's good stuff, effective stuff. And then they just kind of go, nah, not really.
The twist is it's uninteresting. It's boring now.
Yeah, well, what I did was,
it's funny that it's like a twist, but also it's like a
Yeah, I altered your memory.
They do the most generic thing.
I was like, well, that's cheating. It's like, you cheated. You made me think things by cheating. That's wrong. That's not how this. You can't
Yeah.
know. And like I can see why they would be like, well, we can't actually make a Precure where the story is that the original Precure did some evil shit for the sake of her kingdom. And I'm like, yeah, I understand that. But like you did initiate.
I think you should do it anyway.
One, they should do it anyway. But two, you did initiate this plot line. You didn't have to. You could have done something else. You could have made the show that accommodated the more interesting version of Spearhead and the princess.
Yeah.
The thing that brought it back for me, where I was like, okay, I'm okay. I'm like, I thought that kind of sucked, but I'm okay again now. Is that this is like resolved like almost immediately, and the Kaiserin doesn't fucking matter. Is Spearhead like retreats back and it's like, oh, I've taken the Kaiserin prisoner, and now a vessel worthy of power is on its way, and he's gonna fucking sheave Sora. And I'm like, okay, I'm back kinda, and we get Dark Sora when she accepts power to save Mashiro, and I'm like, this is cool.
There's part of me that like, I think it's cool. There's part of me that's like, if I feel like I was missing something, like they were trying to do something with Sora's arc, but I feel like,
yeah,
I didn't. It wasn't 100% there.
It's not all there. It's kind of, and they've kind of subverted her arc, and then by making Spearhead like the big bad guy at the end, they've kind of changed what her arc is.
Yeah, I think the second half's a bit messy.
Yeah. The actual vision of the this show, but good, but like really, really, really good, is in the home stretch. We see the return of Batamonda, who is I was like, of the three like recurring bad guys, this is the least of a guy. This guy is nobody, and he comes back, and he's the best.
He's the best guy, the most of a guy. I think we should loop back around to like earlier in the show, maybe, because we're like to talk about in-game stuff.
But, sure. We'll come back to Mashiro and Batamonda. So like, okay, our four Precures. We have Sora, who is isekai'd into Earth from Skyland, and we have Mashiro, who is her de facto wife from Earth, and we have Tsubasa, who is a bird boy from Skyland, who lives on Earth.
The first official male Precure on our main team.
Yeah.
With no asterisks.
He's just here. And then we have Ageha, who's like Kyo Butterfly.
The first Precure who drives a Hummer and also is an adult.
Yes. And I like these four. I think I think they're good. Of the four, by the end, Mashiro is my favorite because of reasons. But initially,
I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, I liked Ageha and Sora a lot at the beginning, but I feel like Mashiro ends up with the strongest arc.
Yes.
By the end,
Ageha was definitely like standout favorite when she started. When like even before she was like a Precure, she was like, oh, she's great, love her.
Yeah, she's fun. It does feel a bit like first adult Precure. You make her job preschool teacher.
There's an episode I posted about this. I was like, sometimes watching Precure is embarrassing, but it's not because it's cute. It's because sometimes you will have like an adult woman say, oh, but it was between the two options. I was like, but I don't want to be a famous, beautiful model. I want to be a nursery school teacher. And I'm like, this is fucking embarrassing. You have to stop. Oh man.
I did like the episode where she like debuts, and also that's when she first gets her job at the school. Because they animated the shit out of that episode.
Which episode's that? Sorry.
The one that Aga has, like when she first becomes Kirby.
Oh yes. Yeah.
You remember like the animations?
I do remember so the other thing about Agiha that makes her an instant highlight is that as a character, she just likes being in motion. She is just extremely energetic at all times, and that just means animators can have a lot of fun with her. Her transformation is the best, I think, of the 5 we get.
Yeah, I like her pose when they have the ultimate attack.
The one where it's like everyone else...
She's like, everyone else is just standing cool, and she just like arched her back.
Yes. It's kind of ridiculous. It's great. In that ultimate attack, I always like that Mashiro looks so fucking smug.
She has a few smug moments, like in that beach episode. She's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a good swimmer." Teaches Sora how to swim.
Oh yeah.
That beach episode was the one I saw on live TV in Japan, so that was nice.
Oh, nice. That's good.
That was fun because like Sora's like, "Oh yeah, I read about the sea in books. It's like a big lake," and then she sees the ocean for the first time, and she's just like, "What the fuck?" Loses her mind. Yeah.
So this is the structure. This show is kind of like, as well as having there's a recurring bad guy that will eventually be defeated and then replaced with another recurring bad guy. As well as that structure, we also have like this kind of more plot heavy, I guess, overarching structure of coinciding with those bad guys getting beaten. Big things happen in the plot where, for instance, at first Sora is trapped with the princess of Skyland on Earth, and then at the end of like the first arc, they manage to get her back to Skyland, and then Sora joins the
the cops and he's her hero.
Yeah, joins the cops, becomes a fucking Navy SEAL, meets her hero, and then there's a new kidnapping threat, and they take her back to Earth for safety, and that's the next arc. And then they unlock.
And then Batamonda is like,
yes,
the shithead who like turns her hero, Sora's hero, Captain Shalala, into a monster, and it's like, well, how are we gonna kill her or what?
And then they don't. They just they just go, nah.
They deal with it. I do want to loop around back to that when we get to like the end game stuff, just because there is the one wrinkle I have with Batamonda is just this one scene later, but yeah, we'll get to it later.
Okay. I just think most of the one thing I will say, every time the school is involved, I'm like, oh, this show's amazing. They don't spend often enough at school.
Yeah, I think that's a big problem with the show. I think they like. It's definitely a complaint that some people have, and I think that's part of why. I think to some degree I might be like being influenced by other people's opinions a little bit. Just like I saw complaints about the show, and they started like nagging at me a bit.
I mean, that's the same as having your own.
People pointed out that like the show. People pointed out that like the show is lacking in like having a recurring supporting cast, and I agree.
Yes.
Like they don't spend a lot of time at school. Most of the time, it's just like the girls go somewhere and it's fun, and then sometimes the plot happens. Like even with the cop corps at the Sky Kingdom,
yeah, they're
like the focus of an arc, and then they come back in a final arc, but they're really like out of focus for most of the show. We don't get a lot with them.
Yeah, and this is probably, I would say, the main thing that like I kind of fell off the show at one point, and I've been catching up over the last couple of weeks. Where
I had the same thing where like I basically like I fell off the show for a bit. And I tried to catch up in Japan just so I could like actually watch the episode on TV.
Mm-hmm.
And then I fell behind again after I came back from Japan. I had to catch up again slowly.
Because like it really doesn't matter how good your cast is. They need to interact with some people other than each other sometimes.
Yeah, and like we got some good episodes early on. Like one of my favorites that like is like, oh, this is standing up like Precure still being fresh is just like the episode where they want to get Sora and Mashiro want to get Princess L, the baby, new shoes.
Oh yes,
but like the one lady wants to get new shoes, but like they find out her family is like moving away, and like they do a transformation sequence, but there's no fight episode. The transformation sequence is entirely to just like
get her
help
to the
this
airport.
woman see her family off the air, and it's just like one. It's like really good. They like even compromise their like secret identity stuff just to be like, hey, we want to help this person and be a hero, and it's just like really nice. And just like it was one of the cases where I was like, oh yeah, that was one thing I felt like more in the first half, and I thought I was feeling a bit more in the last stretch, but before they pulled the punches, it was just like this show is at the beginning was surprising me in ways I hadn't felt in this franchise in a while, and I really liked it. And then it felt like it started spinning its wheels and started feeling.
And even in oh, go ahead.
Like Sora joining the Marine Corps is like wild. I was like, holy shit, what the fuck?
She's gonna be the cops now, and then
yeah,
it's not a big deal. The other thing is, even when it's not being like unique, when it's kids at school, it's kids at school, and it's good. when it's Mashiro,
like, I think
the Mashiro relay episode I really liked.
Yeah, that was a good one too. And like, yeah, like that's an important part of the genre. Like, the girls transform, and you know that's a big part of like their life. They have lives outside of fighting. And I think that's like important for the genre to have is like you need the moments where they're just hanging out and doing irregular stuff, and then like a monster shows up and then they have to deal with it.
Yeah, I think there was at some point I was like, is this show permanently set at weekends? When the fuck are you at school?
Yeah, like it feels really surreal, and just also like in the finale when before it felt like when the finale when Sora was seeing off our classes, I was like, I don't know these people. I don't know their names.
Yes. Other than the basable letter, I was like, cool. The baseball episode was great. Oh, that was such a fucking good episode, man. Yeah, that was some good shit. But the most of the kids showing up, and I was like, I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. I don't know who you are. What are you doing here? Like, the last Precure I finished was Splash Star, which
you're still in Fresh, right?
I'm still in Fresh. The side cast in Splash Star is great. There's like multiple there's multiple boys just in the girls' class who are great, and I'm like rooting for them towards the end of the show.
And you got some guys in Fresh.
I got some guys in Fresh too. Yeah, I've got there's some boys in Fresh.
I did also mention like side characters in general.
Yes,
like you got the parents and stuff like that. I think one of the things where like I think early on I started to feel like that's a bit weird. It's like when they have the episode of like Mashiro is relating to this person of like not seeing her family, and then like her family shows up for a montage at the end of the episode. I'm like, what? You could have spent more. You could have spent an episode on that. What are you doing?
Yeah. Speaking of earlier in this episode, we talked about I talked about how in Return of Ultraman that kid's mum is just nowhere to be seen, and there was a certain extent where I couldn't quite register whether this was commentary or completely normal, because like none of these kids' parents are in this show really.
And like Mashiro is technically living with her grandma, but like she's just kind of more there as like the lore master than as a parental figure. Yeah, it's not quite real. And which kind of heightens this sense of like this is not a real place. You're not real people going to like living your life. Which is like, and like that's like an important. Yeah, that's like an important part in like the Precure shows I really like. It's like, yeah, the parents matter, the people at school matter. Like one, not to spoil much, but one of the climaxes in terms of character arcs in Heartcatch is when they do the school festival stuff, and like that involves multiple people, and like Precure in like Heartcatch also is like about like the format of the show is as much about like a victim of the week as well as like a monster of the week, and so like he gets like, even if not every guy is recurring, but there's like at least an episode focused on a particular person that like helps flush things out, and there'll be recurring guys, and I think it's like that stuff is important, and like
the thing I think about is like the shows that I've watched is like, you know, you get like an episode about a character that's like centered on one character, and now that character's in the cast and is like someone that can pop up in the background, and or like, you know, you can use,
and it doesn't mean they're gonna be in like in every episode, but then like, you know, 10 episodes from now they'll show up and like have a scene. It's like, oh yeah, that guy, I love that guy. And like,
you know, this one is like, I was like, oh, the baseball girls, they should be in this show now, and they're not. They're in one episode.
They should have had the baseball episode like 20 episodes earlier, and then like, this a thing that happens regularly.
They should have been checking in on on how the baseball team were doing that year, like 3 times, maybe twice.
I'm just kind of thinking on like, I feel like a lot of characters' arcs didn't progress much, or like ended early. Like, I was just thinking, what was Tsubasa's arc? And like, he kind of got over it kind of fast. Because his thing was like, he wanted to fly. Like, he was like, I'm a bird who can't fly, that's why I'm into planes. And then eventually he's like, well, I can fly now.
The whole thing with him is like the expanding, like he's like verbalizes this briefly in like the last episode, is like his thing is like his dreams constantly like expanding to higher and like bigger and bigger.
Wow, like a wingspan, because it's Cure Wing.
Like a wingspan because it's Cure Wing. Like he's flying higher and higher. And you know, it's a show for children, and so he can't Icarus himself. Kid
Icarus. Uprising.
Yeah. Famous video games everyone's played.
I wish I could play that. And then Agaha is, you know, just has some stuff with at school, and she's like, I guess I'm a good teacher in the end.
She's kind of the only one that has recurring characters around her.
Yeah.
Because she's got that kid that hates her at first, and then they check in a little later, and he's leaving the school, and he's really sad about it. And I think that's a good episode. I think that one works, but yeah,
it does feel a bit weird that like they forced her to be the nursery student, so it feels like her recurring characters are all smaller children.
Yes. Yeah, I get.
And then Sora, I feel.
Yeah, I guess it is kind of cheating that the first adult Precure does not have adult friends.
Yeah, her best friend is Mashiro, and I guess now also Tsubasa, who is a bird boy. But is also a child.
Yes.
And then Sora, I feel like, in the end, kind of feels a bit static more than I would have liked. Like, she's cool, and like, I think she's kind of like, they're doing something interesting by being like, oh, the quote-unquote pink of this season is a blue Precure, and like, you know, it works with the sky theme. And like, I think the whole like superhero aesthetic and theme, like, she's very headstrong and also an idiot. One standout moment, I think the most standout moment I had of her, I guess besides like the finale, is like in something we'll get back to, I'm sure, in a little bit. In the episode where she picks up the sketchbook and is like, whoa, you can draw a blank canvas, I don't get it. It's like, fucking stupid girl.
She picks up a blank canvas and is like, wow, I don't really have a head for this modern art stuff, but you go.
Her design is so fucking cool. I have a t-shirt of her.
Nice.
That I got.
Sick. I think her strongest moment is the baseball episode. I think that's the best. It could have been the episode where she has to fight her hero, but they don't do that really.
Yeah, I think there's a degree to which they couldn't like actually kill her, but like,
I mean,
I think that part's still pretty decent. Like,
right. Just, like, I'm gonna ask you a question, because it felt obvious to me that this was what was gonna happen. Did you also think that woman was gonna be the bad guy of this show?
I did a bit. I thought they were gonna do something with her, like where she'd actually antagonistic, but like they didn't in the end.
Yeah,
so I was a bit surprised. Like
it's a very
like I got the vibes from the opening.
Yes. Also, it would just be like a very quick, like, you know, sometimes making shows is less about earnest craft and more about sleight of hand. And I think it would have been a very just absolutely acceptable sleight of hand to make her be the big undergoo bad guy at the end, instead of the Kaiserin. I think that could have been good. I just think the Kaiserin's kind of undercooked.
Yeah, like I think they're cooking something in like the arc.
Yeah.
The flashback arc. And then they kind of like she comes in a little bit too late and then they undercut the interesting stuff.
Yeah.
So it feels like it's half of a cool idea.
Mm-hmm.
That like I kind of like I like the shape of this, but it could do more.
Yeah. What else is there about like the early stages of this show? It looks very pretty. I think it's good.
Yeah.
You know?
I think Kabadon is a fun villain.
Mm-hmm.
He's just fun. He's just chilling. He's hanging out. I think that's like one of the things I liked about the early show. Is like he just be chilling sometimes, and they just bump into each other, and it's kind of fun.
Yeah, he'd be
in a way that the other ones.
He'd be out eating like ramen or something or udon.
Yeah, the other ones feel a bit more conventional, which I think that's part of why the first part of the show with Kabadon is pretty fun. It's just like he's just basically out there chilling, and then the other one's a bit more conventional in terms of like, oh yeah, I'm coming here specifically to fuck you up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the third got. I think the first two villains were better than the last two.
Yeah, the third.
Because Gearhead we already talked about.
Yeah,
the third guy's just like a
Gearhead had potential, and they just decided no.
And then the third guy, whose name I don't remember, he's just
Minaton, I think.
Excuse me.
That's what you think of Minaton.
He's just, he's just strong. That's it. His personality is a strong guy.
Yeah. He gets possessed by undergoo energy. He has a cool fight with Cure Majesty, one time, and I'm like, hell yeah. I believe that the monarchy is evil naturally. However, when
this is the second reason. Precure is no stranger to having like the good kingdom.
Oh yeah.
But this sure is we've had two important monarchies in a row, and I'm like, well, I hope the next season doesn't have a monarchy.
Oh, did last season also have a monarchy?
Yeah, it was the food kingdom.
Oh, you're right.
The cook kingdom.
You're right, the cook kingdom.
And like the final bad guy was the fucking right hand man. I guess the final bad guy in that one was basically the Shalala equivalent.
Oh well, they shouldn't have wasted it on a shit show, and they should have put it in this one.
Yeah.
That damn.
I almost they wouldn't have done this, but I think it'd be even more interesting if it was like Shalala was like not evil even because of like she's with the Underground Empire, but because she's really against the Underground Empire.
Oh, I see.
Like,
she's too far.
Yeah, like if they did something more interesting than Noble, then like I lied.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
So do we want to get into the good shit?
Yeah.
So Batamonda comes back at some point. And the thing is, all the bad guys come back to Earth, and Kabaton is just like, he's got a job and he's just doing, he's living.
Yeah, he's doing okay, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, Kabaton's fine. It's hilarious that between the two, Batamonda's the one that can't really take it. He can't really take living in defeat.
I mean, he's kind of like that from the get-go. Like,
yeah,
the reason he targets Shalala, he's just like, he really hates Sora because Sora like stood up to him when he first showed up.
Yes,
and he like he backed down, and he's like, can't live it down, even though Sora wouldn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny how he ends up becoming like the Mashiro's guy at the end, but it's fun.
Yeah, I guess there's kind of just like there isn't like an actual real connection there between him and Sora. In the way that they find, I was like, why is he Mashiro's? But it made sense toward the end. It came together. The him hanging out doing like part-time work, like on like construction sites and stuff, and pretending to be like an art student, to screw with Mashiro. Meanwhile,
and also not working.
And also not working. Meanwhile, he's like, one of my favorite bits is he spots Kabaton like working, and Batamonda's just like, man, look at that guy. He just enjoys hanging out with kids. What a fucking loser. It's like, what the hell is wrong with you, dude? He's so good. His attempts to thwart Mashiro's dream, like, you know, she's trying to be an artist.
It just makes it stronger.
And just keeps accidentally giving really good advice. It's
so funny. He's like, he gets told off at work because he keeps like pausing his work to like think of like, oh, I'm gonna get him this time, and then like he tries to do it, and then he's just like, oh, I gotta get him. She's like, damn, Wanda, you are right. I should do this. And he's like, no, wait, you're supposed to be sad.
You are right. I should accept that. You know, it's not inevitable that everyone. You know, I can't just make everyone love my work. There will always be someone who doesn't like it. I have to accept this. And Monda's like, what? No, I was trying to crush your dream.
Yeah, I think that I think about it, I think I was cooler on Mashiro at the beginning because I guess I wasn't sure what she was doing besides.
Yeah, she was kind of
being nice wife.
Yes. She was just kind of there.
But then I guess despite being build number 2, but then I guess in the end they gave her more with the art stuff. I guess when she had something to latch onto and work towards, and then that came more of like the stronger through line by the end of the show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the it's like really the highlight of the home stretch of the show because it comes to a head where it's like Batamonda is like forced by Scarehead kind of like to he's like really down, and Mashiro like encounters him and like says like, oh, thank you for all your like encouraging words, and Monda gets really fucking angry because like she's found this theme about like falling leaves that she's trying to nail down and can't quite because in this metaphor both her and Batamonda are the falling leaf, and she can't quite see what the future is for her or indeed Batamonda. And then in like the tensest moment of this, he like starts tearing like pages out of her book and like accidentally reveals who he is, and like the fucking where he's like telling her, oh yeah, it was all lies, everything was a fucking lie, and she's like, thank goodness, that means that all your despair was a lie too. And I'm like, bro.
Oh yeah, it was...
good line.
Yeah, and that fucks him up too.
Yes, he's like, long story short, he like does a deal with Scarehead. He like manages to steal the thing that she uses to transform, does a deal with Scarehead, and then is going to like accept Undergoo energy in order to like, but sacrifice himself to it.
The power that seals your soul.
Yes.
And like Scarehead just basically says, yeah, you're a loser and a weakling. And then he just like, God, shut the fuck up, and just punches them.
Yes, in the end, Mashiro, it's so cool. Mashiro is saying like, people have worth outside of strength. People get to decide their own worth, and like they like breaks through at like the last second, and all amped up on like roided out. Batamonda just turns and punches Scarehead, and I was like, let's go. But then they have to have a fight because his soul gets contained, and Mashiro uses like the prism shine, it's like shines light into his soul and like frees him from the energy, and they go their separate ways. He apologizes for tearing all the pages out of her book, and it's this nice conclusion of two characters that I was like, these are the nobodies. I was like, these are not the A-listers of this show, and they were easily the highlight in the end.
Yeah.
I wish the rest of it got that kind of good shit resolution.
Yeah, I wish we had more of that. Like it was
the Kaiserin stuff is just kind of is like, you know, like I say at the end, it's like, well, this doesn't even really matter.
Yeah, I think also like you need a good Precure season has good villains too, and like having a villain as a foil to the protagonist helps. And like sometimes it's good to have like the villain redeemed, and sometimes you just want to kill that motherfucker. I do think that some people have complained that some recent seasons have been too eager to like just make villains who are like that they redeem and too friendly. But I think it just depends on the story.
Yeah, I'm not like, because you know you have watched like nearly all of Precure.
Yeah, there's like 3 seasons I haven't seen.
It's like Splash Star,
Splash Star, and the 5 seasons.
Yeah,
are the ones I'm missing.
Yeah, I like Splash Star,
and so like them just going like, so I do think I like the redemption here, but for in like some of the cases it just feels like, where were you showing up?
Yes,
again. But like at least with like Monda, it's kind of like earned a bit. Though that does make me feel a bit like, even though they actually put in the work more for him, and I guess with Kamen it's like okay because he's just kind of normal after losing.
Yeah.
Don't care for him taking out enemies with farts, to be honest, but you know, it's a kid show, whatever. It did feel weird when like you just have like the scene in the end game where Badamonda is like evacuating the Skyland people, and like he's just Shalala's just standing there, and it just felt like this feels like an awkward conversation the way it's written, and also I feel like this should not be the first conversation you two have.
Oh,
and
right.
I know the situation.
Because I had completely forgotten about this when I watched it.
It just was like this guy almost killed her, and then they're just kind of like, hey, I'm cool, right? And she's like, you know what? You are cool. And I'm like, what is going on in this scene? Like, he did have like the growth from the Mashiro stuff, but it still felt weird having like have that conversation with Shalala there at the end. But yeah, it's
wow. What else is there to talk about Hirogaru Sky Precure?
I think Sora's cape is cool.
Yes, more capes.
It's cool how they're like, yeah, we want to do like a Superman thing, but like want to keep it Precure style, so we did like the shoulder cape, and it's like, yeah,
it works. It's a good look.
It's sick.
Yeah, Tsubasa, ironically, despite the significance of his inclusion, kind of the guy we've talked about the least. Doesn't have like all that much going on, to be honest.
I mean, I don't think we've talked about Majesty either, but
yeah, I mean, Majesty
because most of the show she's a baby.
Yeah, Majesty is also kind of one note. It's just I like that note a lot.
Yeah,
I like it when she says like something like descend, majestic nobility or whatever, and I'm like, yes, noblesse oblige. Let's go.
Yeah. It's funny when she forcibly grows up and she's like, what? I'm adult, and then like both Tsubasa and her dad are like, well, where's the baby?
Oh,
where's the baby?
Okay, this is another thing, and I assume this is going to be true of like many Precure shows because it's a show for small children, and it's, you know, this is simply how it is. But there is like, this is the second one that I've watched now where there is clearly like an ending. And then they just go, status quo, because, you know, it's a show for tiny children.
Yeah.
And
to be fair, they do say
we can come back anytime.
they say regular. Listen, it's okay. We can come back anytime. Like, but like I don't think I do think it's like, I don't hate it so much just because I'm like, one, they do say like, yeah, listen, they keep use saying it. It's fine, and also just like, like, yeah, it's a separation, but like in the sense that like, well, your friends move into another town, so you don't get to see him like every day like you used to.
No, I'm gonna tell you.
But you can still hang out.
No, I'm gonna tell you, those motherfuckers are dead now. That's it. They're gone.
Okay, so
if life has told me anything. There's
I assume for most people who aren't us.
there's two at a stretch, like 3 people that when I moved away they continued to exist. Everyone else gone.
Yeah, but yeah, they could have just ended it on on the bittersweet note.
I mean,
but also
it's not that I hate it. It's that I find, I think it's kind of funny. I like the other example I'm thinking of is like more egregious and maybe funnier, but this one is like,
oh, which season was that again?
the ending of Max Heart, which I think is just like, come on, guys, you can't fake out that shit.
I forgot the ending of Max Heart.
That's fair.
Max Heart isn't great.
Max Heart's
There's a reason.
fine.
It's a reason they go back. They change it up.
They did.
Season after that.
I mean, they changed it up to Splash Star, and which was really mean to the new Nagisa because she had to try to be Nagisa too. And it's like, that's not.
Yeah,
that's
not enviable for anyone.
No, it's not happening, mate.
I think that's the exclusive reason why Splash Star isn't like necessarily as popular. It's because well, they did just try and do it again. It takes a bit for it to be delivered.
New family, but they're wearing the old family's faces as masks. It's fucked up. Stupid. Why did they do anyway?
I'll watch Splash Star someday.
It's good.
I just need more distance from it because I watched Futariwa and then
I mean,
due to reason that I was watching Max Heart recently after, and
the Splash Star designs on the Precures terrible, but the rest of the show's good.
Yeah,
the them just looking like fucking How Do I Look, Darling bad. Is this the episode where he loses his house? Hell,
not like the girls in the show.
Hell on the animators. In Splash Star, they introduced 2 characters that just wear flat grey dresses so that they could animate some fun fight scenes. It's ridiculous. Anyway, yes, this show, the designs are very good. Big fan.
Yeah, there's some good fights. Yeah, I feel like, despite my complaints about the final stretch in the second half of the show, I feel like the finale just landed more than I expected.
Yeah. They pull it together. I mean, presumably it's just they're competent at putting together final episodes of Precure.
Yeah,
they know the beats to hit because like the broad thing is going to be the power of friendship is going to be is how we win, and it's just the devil's in the details, and it's just some of the details in the run up to the ending there. It's kind of shaky.
And like I feel like to some degree I'm like, did they earn this? But also I'm like, they did animate the shit out of it.
Yeah, that's the animators earned it.
The final lost my mind at like Sora punching a big glowing fist that's holding the butterfly platform that Mashiro is standing on.
You're doing the fucking the getter pose.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Magical Girl getter pose, honestly, holy shit. Revolutionary moment. God damn. It helped that by that point Mashiro was my favorite.
Yeah. It just kind of get it's kind of silly now that I think about it that like they just like spend the first 5 minutes in like that cave or 10 minutes in the cave and then suddenly it cuts to, well, they're going to your town now that you've spent 5 minutes
in a cave. We didn't just first step go to your town. We decided to spend some time in the cave first. Yeah,
like most of the time they're usually like oh they're going to threaten our town is usually like what they start with like as the final battle place. Mm-hmm. Like they set it up as like the oh no, like there's usually like more than an episode of that, but here it's just like, nah, they just gotta go there. Batmonda's like, if I was him, I'd go to your town because that'd fuck you up. So get going.
Yeah. But Batamonda having secretly the most evil brain of all the characters, but also just, kind of being an alright guy in the end. He's like,
Yeah, also,
I understand how this works.
Yeah, also I did see the part where like they got all those dresses for L, the king and queen at the end.
Oh yes.
And then I did just go like, me who's watching Rosa at Versailles right now.
The Skyland Revolution is on its way. These bourgeois, not bourgeois. These
How much is
these royal motherfuckers with all that money they spent on dresses.
instead of
Cure Majesty's transformation phrase. Let them eat cake.
Shalala is the Oscar of the show.
Oh yes, you're right. You're right.
But does that make Sora Rosary?
Maybe. I hope shippers don't get her cut from the show.
It's Mashiro's show now.
It's Mashiro's show now. All right.
Mashiro distinctly not the Andre.
No. No. All right. I think that's probably us talked about Precure.
That's probably the blood from the stone.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Looking forward.
Oh yeah, one more thing.
Go ahead.
The model episode with Agaha sisters. I don't think they look that good. I think they were interesting choices the show made.
Let me take off my feminist hat for a second. I think they didn't look very good. I
feel like they were just like poor choices.
I think
they tried to like.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just think they tried to give them like attractive model makeup, and it made them look like clowns.
I hadn't really thought about it, but this is the funniest possible angle to come at the model episode from. Yeah, I would have to say, I'd have to look again at an image of Agi's sisters. Hang on.
At least during the fashion show, anyway. But
Sky, Precure, Agiha sisters. Let me see. Oh, on the runway, these do just look like just regular. I'm looking at.
Actually, it might just be Agaha's making us specifically that.
Agiha does look like a clown.
Yeah. I think it's Agaha's.
What if they dressed? Why if that's okay? I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just one thing that stood out to me.
One thing that stood out to you.
But yeah. Would say overall
that was not a good episode of this show. IMO.
Not a good episode. Pretty alright season.
Yeah, you have
could have been better.
You have seen way more Precure than me. So there's like there's a degree here to which I'm still getting like some novelty. Like, the baby. I have not had multiple seasons of watching Precure about where the Precures have a baby.
Yeah, my second favorite season also was a baby, but
Okay.
Hugto for reference.
Yes, that is another anniversary one.
Yeah, that was the 15th anniversary one. My first season was also the 10th anniversary one, which is pretty funny.
Which one's the 10th anniversary one?
Happiness Charge.
Okay.
I don't think it's that good.
Oh. Is that a controversial opinion or?
No.
Okay.
You'll see eventually.
I'm looking at what this show looks like. It looks a little bit like it was, I don't know. This looks weird. I think there's something. weird and cheap looking about this style.
Yeah, they were kind of bland looking.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I will wait and see. I have opened by skipping Yes 5. I have opened myself up to the possibility that if I don't like a Precure show, I will just drop it. So I will be having a much more comfortable time going through Precure than necessarily like when I went through all of Gundam, no matter how bad it was.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like this may be a show that's like on the short list of ones that I feel like I might revisit this in the future just to be like,
just to see,
reassess it, because there are ones where I'm like, there's a couple where I'm like, I think I like aspects of it, but other aspects I don't care for, and I'm like, maybe I just want to revisit it someday later to like give it another shot.
Mm-hmm. All right then, that is Hirogaru Sky Precure. Our verdict, it's all right.
Yeah, it's pretty alright.
Yeah, you know.
I think it's pretty. I guess if it's someone's first Precure, it's probably not a bad one.
Yeah. Still seems to do some fundamentals.
There's some people who are like, "Wow, that's amazing." I'm like, it's got some problems. But also, some people are like saying it's garbage. I'm like, I wouldn't go that far.
Yeah. Sometimes the most courageous position is to say it's like a 6, 7 out of 10.
Sometimes the most courageous position is to be a centrist.
Yes, absolutely. Always. That's us. Come back next week for more centrist opinions about Toku and anime, which we always deliver. Maybe the midway point between not committing genocide and committing loads of genocide is that Ultraman should commit like the occasional genocide.
Yeah.
For fun.
I think he's allowed.
He's allowed. He works hard.
God forbid men have hobbies.
God forbid Ultramen have hobbies. All right. We're done. We did plugs in the Ultraman segment. At Ultra_Q, Ultra_QUEUE. I think that's probably the most we need. Yeah. Bye.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Bye. Hero girls, including the men. Yeah, I botched that. Whatever.
Yeah.
Bye.
Kirameki Hop, etc.
壊すぞ地響き立てて吠える怪獣大怪獣ふわっと開いた口から炎あたり一面焼け野原間違ってない死が迫る帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマンウルトラマンウルトラマン十字を組んで狙った敵は必殺技の贈り物大地を飛んでキック一発近くに寄ってウルトラチョップ凶悪怪獣倒すため帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞウルトラマンウルトラマンウルトラマン 戦い進んで見上げる空に一つ輝く僕の星遠く離れて地球に一人あれがふるさとだ正義と平和を守るため帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞ帰ってきたぞ